American food culture. All it really entails is two slices of bread, any bread you want, and anything in between. However, sandwiches may come in many different shapes and sizes, designs, tastes, appearances, because it's basically all up to its maker. There are many restaurants across the country that have at least one sandwich item on their menu, but there are very few delis that have that special something that make them really popular. I'm sure all of you have eaten a sandwich before in your lifetime, one that you may have liked or disliked, and whether you like to eat or don't like to eat sandwiches, I'm just here to tell you where to find the best one. And I've eaten a few sandwiches in my day, and I can't help but come across food videos on social media that give insights on good sandwich places and stuff. So I thought I might as well do some research to find the best places. So basically, I'm here today to tell you some of the best places around the world to get a sandwich. Before I begin, something that I found in my research is that a majority of these delis are Jewish style, and their number one sandwich, their hook is their pastrami, and I didn't really know how it was prepared, how pastrami was prepared. So basically, the cut of meat is the brisket. It's brined for up to a week, which basically warmed in some sort of vinegary liquid. After it's brined, it's put on a rub of spices like salt, pepper, ginger, and the number one spice for pastrami is coriander. That's what kind of gives it its signature taste. After it's given a rub, it's smoked for 1 to 2 days, and then usually it's heated some form, or after the smoke, it's basically kind of up to each deli to do what they want with it. So the first deli that I chose is Katz's Delicatessen. It's on the corner of Ludlow and Houston Street in New York City. It's been around for over 130 years, so that makes it the oldest deli in the United States. And it's widely considered New York's most popular, even the most popular across the country. So most people would consider old school, or what most New Yorkers would consider an old school deli, as they do everything by hand. They take orders through pen and paper, they track their inventory by hand, and they cut the meat right in front of the customer. Noah Davis of Crane's New York Business, in a 2017 article, wrote, "Co-owner Jake Dell tracks the comings and goings of 30,000 pounds of meat served in the restaurant weekly, and up to 2,000 packages of authentic Jewish food like pastrami and matzo balls during a single week." Jake Dell is a fifth-generation business owner, as the Dell family inherited the deli from the Katz family in 1988, and before the Katz family had it for the first 90 years. But ever since its beginning, everything's pretty much remained unchanged. The recipes, or most of the recipes for the food that they service, remain unchanged, most notably their pastrami. Katz recently launched a shipping service in an attempt to grow their business. In a recent Dow Jones Institutional article, it is wrote that Mr. Dell plans to grow the shipping side of the business by sending its corned beef, pastrami, and other favorite menu items to Canada and Mexico by the end of the year, and to other countries starting in 2018. They haven't landed any additional retail locations as of yet, as they're potentially looking to expand. But something that will never change at Katz is their pastrami, and I think that's a testament to their success. My next deli in Queensbury, New York, off of State Route 9, has essentially redefined the sandwich to their menu. Benny's Deli has traditional deli menu, traditional deli fare. They have sandwiches that you might find at a deli down the street, but something special they offer is a no-bread menu. Scott Donnelly in a TCA Regional News article writes that alternatives so far have included sandwiches made with bell pepper, tomato slices, or partially hollowed out cucumbers in place of bread. As you can see right there, that's the partially hollowed out cucumbers. Owners Jason and Rebecca Southwood have gained inspiration for their no-bread menu from their brother, who died at age 42 due to complications from diabetes and celiac disease. And celiac, for those of you who don't know, is basically someone who has celiac disease, gluten-free, so no wheat, malt, or barley. The deli is fairly new. It's only 2 years old, but it has attracted many gluten-free customers from across the state, across the country, because it satisfies the needs of all eaters, those who are gluten-free, those who can't eat bread, and those who want what looks like a pretty good Reuben sandwich. This next deli in the North Center of Chicago is the first New York City Jewish-style deli that made it to Chicago. Steingold's Jewish Deli combines Middle Eastern and Jewish culture and food into their what they do. Owners Aaron Steingold and Elizabeth Aboud are Jewish and Lebanese respectively, and they believe the merge of the cuisines they grew up with will increase the interest of the Jewish-style deli in Chicago. One deli concept that Steingold kind of incorporates into his management style is counter service. In a recent TCA Regional News article states that Steingold is heavily invested in the concept of approachability at his deli, both in price points and atmosphere. Steingold hopes to appeal to everyone in what he does. A lot of the Jewish-style delis, they embrace the kind of theme of family and approachability in their deli, and they pride themselves on excellent customer service. This is also a pretty relatively new deli. It's like less than a year old at this point, but in its time, it has accumulated a lot of long lines, and it's set to pretty good reviews, and it has prompted expansion from within the deli. In another TCA Regional News article, Louisa Chu writes, in a surprise move, Steingold's Deli is taking over the Baker Miller Hot Bar space in Ravenswood Manor, which is adjacent to the Francisco Brown Line L stop, and that's basically just a region within the deli or around the deli. And while it's technically separate from the deli, as they will sell a portion of their menu, approximately 15% of their menu, Steingold's is the first of many Jewish delis in Chicago. And it's kind of testament to the influence of the Jewish-style deli on the East Coast. This fifth deli, called the Second Avenue Deli, it's on the corner of 1st and 75th, so it's not like really on 2nd Avenue. It's another authentic Jewish-style deli. It's recently celebrated 65 years of excellence. They have their traditional Jewish-style menu, latkes, matzo ball soup, pretty much the same as all the other delis. They recently added a second-floor cocktail bar in an attempt to kind of increase the prominence of the deli on the East Coast, as it's kind of faded off in recent years. In a recent article by Dow Jones Institutional, Charles Passy writes that some restaurant industry observers say the decline is due to the fact that delis haven't kept pace with contemporary tastes, and they say that the addition of a craft cocktail bar would indeed help change that dynamic. As some of you may know, salty food kind of lends itself to drinking, so they think that the addition will kind of increase its popularity in the area. And my final deli is called Wise Sons. This is the first one that's on the West Coast. It's in San Francisco. It's another Jewish-style deli. It's kind of the same as before, like they specialize in pastrami, corned beef, stuff like that. They pride themselves on preparing their all their food in-house. They have an off-site bakery where they prepare all their goods, and they only use the freshest ingredients, and they pride themselves on good customer service. In my research, it just so happened that most of these delis were Jewish style, and their menu items were pretty similar. But throughout all of them, their main sandwich was the pastrami sandwich. They're all pretty old-fashioned. They have a good family theme, or good concept of family in their delis, and they all have great customer service. On Wise Sons' website, they write, "We make nearly everything in-house at Wise Sons using the best ingredients we can source." It's kind of a standard of all Jewish-style delis to make sure that they do the best for the customer. And kind of back to my main point, while a sandwich itself is pretty simple, it's kind of what goes on beyond the sandwich, what's put into it, what's what matters most. Thank you.
Matt, how'd that go?
Did that go over?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I like kind of knew I was gonna have a little problem with time because just like I had a lot of stuff included, but I thought it went okay. I could have prepared a little more. I could have wrote a little bit better speaker notes, but I feel like the visual aids and just the fact that like it's kind of interests everyone. Like I'm talking about food, so that's basically why I chose that topic. So.
Audience, questions, comments, feedback.
What's your favorite deli in Slow?
I've never been to High Street. I heard it's really good. Never been to Kona's either. I've heard it's really good.
Which one?
Kona's. It's like down Foothill, I think. I can't really think right now off the top of my head, but I know there's a few good ones in the area.
Ever been to Giant Grinder? That's a good one.
Been to what?
Giant Grinder.
I've heard of it. I've never been there.
I'd recommend.
Yeah.
Questions? Anybody else? Okay, teammates, if you could.
I thought that you did a really good job hitting a topic that was like good for us because I enjoyed looking at the pictures of the food. I think that you could have done a deli and slow, which would have kind of
Probably should have done that.
allowed like the audience to kind of be more involved in it because we all live here. But other than that, I thought you did a really good job.
I thought you had a pretty good like conversational quality to your voice at times, but you did look down a lot, so a little bit more eye contact would be good. But other than that, I think you had like really cool details, and I don't think that many of us knew much about what you were talking about, so that was really interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was a really unique topic. I think you would have added like a bunch of descriptors in to like make us like our mouths water. I think it would have brought a lot to your speech. And yeah, you kind of looked down a lot, but the tone was right, and I didn't have a hard time like paying attention to listening.
Matt, in unique topic selection, something different, which is always nice to hear about. I thought picking something like that close to lunch, you kind of get our mouths watering for something delicious, whatever kind of sandwich it is that we might enjoy. Okay, in terms of, I think you did a nice job in your introduction and, motivating us to listen and noting for your credibility in terms of your research and whatnot. I would say just make sure your main points are clear, what your thesis is. Your specific purpose was clear. You're going to be telling us about delis. So we do that. Just give us a highlight of what we're going to be covering. In terms of the body of your speech, I think you identified each of the prefacing in terms of what type of pastrami, which is sort of the signature for a lot of these delicatessens. I think was a nice frame to give us some context, and maybe to that end, then maybe going and just talking about the top